So here is the continuation, the second part, or the part 2 of the Scholastic Aptitude Test Examination Standard and Curriculum. So let's look at the following preparatory questions. Question 1 says, an object is accelerating. Which of the following is not possible? So the most correct option here is option C. The reason being that the velocity of the object would be constant or may be constant. Don't forget, acceleration is a vector quantity that has both magnitude and direction. So option C will not be possible, option A will not be possible, and option E will not be possible. So the most correct option here is option C. Question 2 says, which of the following quantities is conserved in a perfectly elastic collision? So don't forget that during a perfectly elastic collision, both the linear momentum and the kinetic energy are both conserved, but the velocity is not conserved during collision. When light enters an optically denser medium, what happens? So don't forget that whenever there's a change in the optical medium or the optical density, the only parameter that remains constant is frequency. The frequency is unaffected, but there'll be a change in both the wavelength and the wave speed. So the correct option here is option A. It says the image of a large distance object viewed by a pinhole camera is, the correct option here is C, because the image will be inverted, smaller than the object, and real. Because light rays passing through the pinhole will converge at the opening and will later invert as they pass through the opening. So it will create a real inverted image at the back of the camera. And since the image distance is small as compared to the object distance, then automatically the image will also be small. The bending of light caused by the change in the light wave speed as it enters a new optical medium at an angle is called, so the correct option here is A, because this is the definition of refraction. Question 6. Why does a prism disperse white light into the colors of the spectrum in the pattern shown in the diagram above? So C is the correct answer because each wavelength of light has a slightly different index of refraction. So option C is the correct answer. Now option A is close, but it's not the best answer because color is a function of frequency and frequency is not being affected by the medium. During a thermodynamic process, 400 joules of heat are added to a gas, while 300 joules of work are done by the gas on its surroundings. Determine the change in internal energy. So don't forget that based on the first law of thermodynamics, heat is being added to the system according to this question. So Q, the quantity of heat, will be positive. And if work is being done by the system, then the gas must be expanding in order to move the piston. And because of this, the gas loses energy. So therefore, we can say that work is done by the gas. And since work is done by the gas, the work done will be negative. So we have the equation based on the first law of thermodynamics. Change in internal energy equals to Q minus W. Q is the quantity of heat. W is the work done. So that gives us the change in internal energy to be 100 joules. An engine operates between 127 degrees Celsius and 227 degrees Celsius. Determine its maximum theoretical efficiency. So when temperatures are given, we can calculate the maximum efficiency as change in temperature over the initial temperature. That is the higher temperature minus the lower temperature divided by the higher temperature. So TH has the hotter temperature, the higher temperature. TC, the lower temperature, the cold temperature. So that gives us, don't forget, the question are in degrees Celsius. So we convert to Kelvin by adding 273. So that will eventually give us 0.20 or 20% as our answer, option D. A radioactive sample with a half-life of 10 days is discovered to have 1/16 of its radioactive material remaining. How many days has the sample been experiencing a radioactive decay? So don't forget, half-life is how long it takes, such that half of the quantity will decay and half will remain. So the first half-life will be 10 days. So after 10 days, which is the first half-life, half of the quantity will decay and half will remain. So after another 10 days, which is the second half-life, half of the remaining, half remains. So half of half will give us 1/4. So 1/4 will decay and then 1/4 will remain. After another 10 days, which is the third half-life, half of 1/4 will decay, which is 1/8 will decay and 1/8 will remain. Then after another 10 days, which is the fourth half-life, half of 1/8 will decay, which is 1/16. So 1/16 will decay and 1/16 will remain. So we have 4 half-lives according to the question. Now, if one half-life equals to 10 days according to the question, then how many days will be 4 half-lives? So simply cross multiply and make X subject of formula. So that means half-life will correspond to 40 days, which is option C. So the last question says, the entropy of isolated systems, what happened? Will always increase. That's option E, will always increase, because this is the definition of entropy, the measured amount of disorderliness of an isolated system. Thank you all. God bless you.